off topic, but you mentioned one time you never thought that you would be friends with someone like me. What does that mean? I want you to tell the viewers what that means.
Looking for a place to listen, learn, and laugh? Then come on, join Truly Portia and Stacy J every Monday and Wednesday, where we discuss growth in every area of life. No topic is off limits. Let's grow together, stand in solidarity, and fix each other's crowns. Brought to you by PS Consulting Firm, because there's more.
So let's go ahead and talk about it, Portia.
Come on, sis. Today's topic make you wonder why Tyrone just couldn't get it together. And if you're wondering who Tyrone is, then you need to stick around for the details on this, okay? Because we got you. So stand in solidarity with us as we talk to some real people today. If you need help with reconnecting with real life, or you want to tell your story, or maybe you've recently lost a loved one, then yes, you should follow us on Instagram at PS Consulting Firm. I am your host, Portia, aka Truly Portia, and we have...
And I am your host, Stacy J. So just so you guys can become a little bit more familiar with me, I'll give you some background. So I'm a believer, a wife, a mother, a writer, an aspiring novelist, an editor, a fashion stylist, a image consultant. The list goes on and on and on and on and on, and it don't stop. What about you, Portia?
Now, before I give you my background, Stacey, you got to tell them what our mission is, what we came here to do.
Oh, my goodness. How in the world did I forget that? Okay. Our mission is to educate and empower Black women with tools to elevate through sisterhood and self-care. That is why we are here. How did I forget that?
Because we're excited because we got just so much to give to them and they're going to receive it. They're going to receive it. Okay. And just to give you a little background about myself, so you know who I am your virtual assistant sister. So yes, if you're looking for life-changing events, entrepreneur tools, and so much more, here I am. Okay. So I help bring businesses to life, your vision, design logos, strategic plans, all that good stuff to help bring in some revenue because we all need some money, right? We got bills to pay. I hear you. I get it. But more importantly, I am somebody who had an opportunity at the age of 17 years old to be a part of an empowerment session with a group of young ladies, young Black girls. Let me be clear on that. Mm-hmm. And from that moment, it's always been embedded in me to help others who are like me or who were just like me. Either way, the most important fact of this all is you. And if I can help anybody, then I definitely would love to help somebody like you. So, Stacy, we definitely have something amazing in store for them today.
Yes, let's talk, sis. Let's talk.
We have to. And look, your mother probably done told you to leave him alone. Your friends probably said, that ain't the one. And what happens, right? What happens is some of us have even seen the signs right in front of us, but we don't pay attention to it. So what does that mean? You know, does that mean I need to change while he remained the same? Now, before we give this to you for free, Stacy and I have to answer these questions right here. Stacy, you brought up an awesome topic. Was it like 2 years ago, you said? You shared it on your Facebook page. So it was like 2 years ago. Yeah. It just blows my mind to think that there are so many avenues and advice and tidbits out here for women. But what about these men? So do men know how to be good husbands? And who's teaching them? Stacy.
So the overwhelming answer is no. And who is teaching them? Nobody. Or their homeboys who don't know, who are single or, you know, they bed hopping. And basically the Facebook status that I put up 2 years ago, the question was, or a statement I made was that there's so many different resources for women for us to learn and be taught how to be good wives. So many seminars, books, groups, all these different types of things. I mean, you know, woman, thou art loose, all these different things for women, different ministries in the church. But it's like overwhelmingly, there are no well-known resources for men. And when men don't have the resources to learn these things, then they're going to be ill-equipped. They're not going to know. It's going to be the blind leading the blind. And they are the kings who are supposed to wear the heaviest crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. But if their crowns are crooked because they have, you know, grown up in environments that didn't display what a healthy, happy relationship is supposed to look like, how can they adequately create that environment for themselves, for their wife, for their children? So it's like, you know, I hear different pastors and things, and really what triggered this was one of the pastors that I follow on Facebook. He made a comment about how his wife had done something nice for him, had like left a sticky note and did some other like real loving things for him. And he was saying that wives, y'all need to take note. And it dawned on me that I've heard him talk in particular to women all the time about what it is they're supposed to be doing. And then it may be a small little footnote to the men, what they're supposed to be doing. But if the man is supposed to be the head of the household, if he's supposed to be the leader, why is the burden placed on the woman to set the tone?
Wow, you just said
that,
because I was just about to say that. Like, why is it that it's so many? Again, like you hear it all the time, like women need to do this, women need to do that. In a relationship, women, you need to do this, listen, do this, change this, make sure you do. What about the men?
Right.
And if there are any programs or resources, they are very scarce. Like, but why is that if they're supposed to be leading us? I know with your upbringing and the things that we talked about, you had the opportunity to grow up in a 2-parent household. So do you know who taught your father how to demonstrate the wonderful characteristics that he has? Well, from what I've seen, like he's an awesome man. The things you share too. I know he's not perfect, but still, again, with your family being together, everything that you guys have, I mean, who showed him, and where are they?
Yeah, like I feel like the mold has been broken when it comes to my dad. There's nobody, no man like my daddy, and definitely not perfect, but an absolute excellent father, a good husband. And I think who taught him was his dad. And so previously we talked about, you know, generational curses, but when you have come from a background where there are certain positive examples, that's going to affect you as well, just as the negative will affect you. And I think one of the things with my dad is he is very family oriented. So he was a only child. My mom was one of 12.
That's a lot.
My dad traveled 6 months out of the year for about 20 years. So he was only home like 2 months home, 2 months away. But he was still very present, especially when it came to email. When email came about, he would email us. When he could call us, he would call us. And I say when he could call us because he would be out to sea, and sometimes calling through a satellite would be super, super expensive. And so when he could call us, he definitely would call us. I even remember a time when he put me on punishment through email. So even though he's physically there, his presence was still felt. And when he was home, he was very, very active. I mean, taking us to the movies, skating rings, soccer practices, soccer games, basketball practices, basketball games, like always being there. And then when it comes to him being a husband, I feel like he has always treated my mom well. I've never they have argued, but I caught them one time in an argument because my room was across from their bedroom and I was going to my bedroom. They left us in the front room so they could go have a heated discussion, right? Wow. So they were conscientious to not argue in front of us. And the only reason I knew that was because I was going to my room to grab something. They were not loud, but I could just tell from the tone of the conversation that they were that's very important. Like I noticed a lot of similarities between my father and my husband. And that says a lot.
Definitely.
My husband is very family oriented and he would do anything for his family, the same as my dad. They are not lazy. They understand what it is to be a man. Being a man and being a father and being a husband, these are three different things. Just because you're a good man does not make you a good husband. Just because you're a good husband does not make you a good father, and vice versa. Those things are, these are all different titles that carry different responsibilities. And so my husband and I, we've been together for now about 18 years. We met in high school sweethearts. And so we've grown up together. We've experienced a lot, love, loss, heartache, triumph, tragedy. But I just think that he is somebody who my dad honestly likes. And that says a lot when it comes to
if your daddy like him, look.
Yes, now, yes. And I remember
sometimes females just like, oh yeah, he's nice. But like a real man can like sense when a man is a man,
Right. Exactly.
So
right. And just some of the things that my dad has done for us, even before we got married, I just knew. I was like, oh, he really like him. Like when Alan bought this house, my dad helped him lay down the hardwood floors. And we weren't even married. I was like, oh, he really like him. There ain't no way he gonna just be spending his time.
Oh my gosh, your dad helped him.
Say that again.
Your dad helped him.
Yes.
Y'all weren't even married yet. That says a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah, we didn't get married until I was like 28. So we were 21 and 22. And I remember my dad was out of town when Alan and I got engaged. And so Alan called my dad's cell phone because my daddy was still working on the ship. He was like out to sea, but they were on shore. So he could he had cell phone reception. And I hope neither one of them mind me sharing this, but I mean, it's a good story. So, and he asked my dad for permission to ask me to marry him. And Alan said that my daddy was like, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me hear what you're saying again. Cause he was just waking up. So he had to repeat it. Right. So
wow.
And they had to repeat it again. And he was like, you know what? I've always liked you, but now I respect you.
Ooh.
Yes, and that say a lot about my. And that say a lot coming from my dad.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, cause he tough, and that's where I get it from. Like, ain't no half stepping, ain't no excuses. Like, no. So that's where I get it from. You asked me one time, like, where do I get this? Like, no nonsense. You can't tell me nothing. I know what it is. Type personality. My daddy.
And you look like him too. You're twin. You his twin. Yeah.
I always say I look like my daddy, but I got my mama cheekbones. Yeah.
That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Man, I'm telling you. But to know that there are so many people who don't have that, to look up to, that example, or even that experience. In our last show, we were talking about, like you said, generational curses, and to know that there are people who just don't know, or they're too afraid, or their ego, whatever, it won't allow them to connect with these people who can show you like, nah, honey, that ain't right.
Oh, ask for help. But how are you going to grow and improve if you don't ask for help? You can't do it by yourself. Otherwise, you would have done it.
Listen, and speaking of doing it by yourself, like I know there are a lot of women, including myself, just like my mom, out here with this mindset, like I have to do it all by myself. I've seen it done so much, so I need to wear the pants and a dress. I have to do it all. But there's this saying, I wanted you to speak on it. They look at women who are in these leadership roles, who are CEOs, but they say that women generally take care when they're leaders, while men take charge. Do you think that's the case? Because I kind of feel like there are women who take charge too. They take care, but sometimes you miss the characteristics of men who may also have that nurturing piece to them. But that's something we don't see often. So where is the balance in it? Like, is that really true that women take care and men take charge? Like, are men supposed to be this hardcore demeanor type of individual? Does it make them a better husband if they are like that or not?
No, I don't think a man should necessarily be. First of all, I think the two go hand in hand, taking care and taking charge. So if a woman is known to take care, she should also be able to take charge. If a man is known to take charge, he should also be able to take care.
And I agree.
Harden that you can't see a person, recognize a person's humanity, recognize their weaknesses, recognize when they need help, when they're struggling. And it comes innate to women. Like, we just have that whole nurturing type thing. So we can feel when people are struggling with something. Men aren't necessarily that way. And so that's why the Bible gives instructions to men to love your wife the way that Christ loves the church, because it has to be intentional. You have to pay attention to it. I think a lot of times that women are more conscientious when it comes to taking charge, because we don't want to be known as the B word. And that's a lot of times what people end up calling us, not bossy, but the other B word, when in fact it's just bossy. Because if it was a man telling you to do the same thing, you wouldn't have any problem with it. But because it's coming from a woman, then you feel like, oh, she's this, she's that, and a third. And so I feel like you need to have a little bit of both so you can have that balance. And same in the household, because let's say, for instance, my husband goes out of town, as so often my dad did. And sometimes my husband actually travels for work as well. Well, I need to be able to take charge of what's going on in the household, but I also need to be able to take care of what's going on in the household, take care of my son. You know what I mean? Like, charge of making sure that things don't fall apart. And that can go the same in the workplace. But I think, in all honesty, we have to stop worrying about how people view us when we know we are doing the right thing.
Say that again. Stop worrying about how people view us.
Yeah, well, we know we're doing the right thing.
Yes. Yeah. And it makes me wonder, like, are there men out here who sit around and think like, hey, if I do go to therapy, what is my homeboy going to say? Or if I do, decide that I want to spend more time with my family, what are my friends going to say? Or in some extreme cases, it could be, well, my family has been telling me this, but so far my relationship.
How is this going to make my mama feel? Well, you should be more concerned with how your wife feels than your mother. And what's so great, we touched on this a little bit on the last episode, was therapy. And I've been seeing a lot lately. I wouldn't say a lot, but more frequently, men on my timeline on social media talking about their experiences with therapy. Black men in particular, talking about going to therapy, talking about their experiences, talking about the homework assignments that their therapists have been giving them.
That is so
very open about it. And so I would say to those men who want to go to therapy or seek wise counsel from a pastor or a mentor or things like that, but your homeboy is talking you out of it, that's really not your friend. Your friend is going to want you to do better, to prosper, to grow, to learn, to be the best that you can. And they should be the ones going along with you too, not necessarily in the same session, but you should give them the information that you have to have access to the tools and resources and the people.
Yep, to better themselves. And of course, if you guys are going in the same direction, it shouldn't be an argument or, any type of compromise, because ultimately it's making yourself
down talking me when I'm trying to do better. Like, I don't have time for a lot of foolishness. Like, I just don't have time for it. Like, no, even if I recently just unfollowed some Facebook pages from a chef that I was following. His comments are always so negative. There's always so much negativity in the comments. And I'm like, oh, this is whack. Then another Facebook group that was geared towards Black women, I don't even want to say the name, but it was just like gossip. And I'm like, this ain't what
I remember you saying that too. And I think I know what page you're talking about. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that's out here now, you just really have to be mindful and like smart about what you're connecting yourself to. Because just because they say this is what they're about, that may not be the case.
Right.
But I just wish there were more groups that were out here for men, or more. I guess I should even say, like, where do you find the men who do have that common sense? Because I think that's honestly what it is. You need to have common sense to know that you should focus on you, get yourself together. It's okay, that you've been through hurt, trauma, pain. But what's not okay is that you're out here pushing that onto other people. So at some point, you're going to have to go see someone or talk to someone other than your mama, other than your uncle, other than your homeboy, because clearly it's not helping you. It's not getting you anywhere. And I don't know what type of satisfaction the parents or the moms, and just being specific in a way, like, why do women today who have raised these boys, because that's what they are, grown boys, they've raised them, they're not willing to come to the fact that they are the way they are because of the lack of
because of you. I think it's a generational thing. Like, the older generation, they don't want to necessarily, and I don't like to paint people and things with such a broad brush, but they don't necessarily like to face the fact that they have issues. Go to church and pray and read your Bible and be fine. But the Bible also tells us that faith without works is dead. So if you are not putting actionable, you're supposed to confess your wrongs, yes, to the person who you have wronged. That is very true. Especially before you pray. The Bible tells us that you have to do these things. And I think sometimes, to be completely honest, misery loves company. So they're going to sow seeds of discord to try and make sure that you remain single and miserable, because they are single and miserable.
Yep. And if they have someone, it blows my mind to see, like, some of them, are married or remarried, and they're still not willing to accept the fact that nothing is perfect with what you're doing. And until you face reality, that's always going to be an issue. And for me, I'm not married. Some of you know that, but I'm not married. So my experiences with relationships have been horrible. And I say that because of course, the things that I was taught, I should say, or not taught, growing up, it allowed me to be attracted to the wrong things, the wrong people, not really understand what to value, who to value, and even paying attention to the signs too, because a lot of the relationships I saw growing up with men, or grown boys, that's what I'm calling them, they were the type to pretty much just mooch off of you. I never seen a healthy marriage at all, never knew one.
So in the relationships that you saw the woman bearing the brunt of the responsibilities, and the man just kind of like laying back, chilling, like letting the woman take care of everything.
In a sense, yes. Now these men, they would have jobs, but it wasn't worth 2 cents. The woman was still always doing everything. running the household. If there was a vacation or something like that, the woman planned it. You know, like I saw my mom do a lot for so many no good, dirtball, trash. The list just goes on and on and on.
Really?
And yes, and from my understanding, because there's still a lot that I'm still learning about my family, the history and everything like that. But from my understanding, my grandma went through a lot with my grandpa. And I still don't know the whole story behind it, but it just makes me wonder, like, you know, what did my grandma see growing up if she too went through that, and she had such a hard demeanor. The woman that I knew, like she had a tough. It's one thing to have tough skin, but she was just like
cold.
Yeah, in a sense, you know, like love my grandma to death, love her dearly, but I just always seen women in my family be so hard. They became that way is when they got into a relationship, you know, with choosing a man or like who to spend your life with. That conversation is like foreign to me. I'm learning that stuff now, but I had to learn through a lot of bad relationships, heartbreaks, just dumb situationships, honestly, because that's what they were. Nothing was ever really talked about in the beginning of the relationships, right? You know, I never seen that happen. I never seen them like actually date, I would say, because it was always like, okay, well, I met somebody, you know, I like them, we're together now. I saw it on TV, on cartoons, movies, but in reality, I never saw that. Men or choosing a good man, I would say I thought he just needed to have a job. You know, if he had his own car, cool. He got his own place, that's great. But anything other than that, discussed. You know, the outer stuff, yeah, he needs to have his car, his own place. And of course, you know,
so
you want to be attractive, you want to look good.
Material things were talked about, the tangible things, but not the intangible things. Yeah. My late pastor, Dr. Whitey Thurgood Sr., oh man, I miss him so much. But I remember him, he was so real, so real. And I remember him one time saying to women, don't be impressed by these men who got houses or who has a house. Even a dog got a house. I was like, oh, no, he didn't. But yes, he did. Even a dog got a house. So don't be impressed by the bare minimum.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
You gotta call it what I've come to terms, you know, I've been accepted in my life. So for those of you who are still, you know, tuning in, you guys are watching, understand this. You have to be willing to have that conversation with yourself. And we just said this in the last show too. You got to be aware of the things that you do and don't want, but that starts with you being aware of who you are, right, and what you and being everything. I just read recently, doing some research online, and a lot of successful people in this world, their families, their businesses, do you know what they have in common?
What?
Stacey, mission statement for their personal life too. And I've never heard of that. Yeah. Now it's one thing to like, right, say, you know, I want to be rich when I grow up. That's one thing. But like to actually have a mission statement for you and your family. Yeah. That just blew my mind. Now, I can write them all day long for a business, but I never thought to write one for my own self. Yeah. And I walk around and say I am a business.
We've done that. We did that years ago. I never even, to be honest,
I never heard of that.
Yes, we did that years ago, and I like printed it out on this like card stock. To be honest, I can't tell you where it's at, but we on the same page. So I feel like I shared before, like the beginning stages of most marriages are rough, but after we got through that, you know, the learning each other, and understanding expectations, writing that mission statement, we got on the same page. I completely forgot about that. I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna find it.
You always blow my mind. You always blow
I forgot about that.
mind. I have never on this earth heard of a mission statement. And it's so cool. Like, I'm just like so excited just thinking about it. Like, because I said, you know what? I need to do this. I gotta do this.
Tear this house up looking for that piece of paper with our mission.
So you got the next show, you gotta show it. I need to know what
I'm gonna look on my flash drives and everything. I'm gonna find it.
Oh my gosh. Let's see again. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Where?
Deborah and Henry.
Oh my goodness.
That is so funny. I can't wait to look for it now. I forgot.
That is so cool, Stacey. Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
But yes, I was looking it up. I mean, just doing research. Like I said, when I saw it, I stopped like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But again, doing stuff with intention, being intentional about everything and being clear, like making sure that you and the person that you're going to be with are on the same page. Now, it's cute.
Marriage is supposed to be forever. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to kind of just be like, oh, if it don't work out, it's okay. But that's not how it's supposed to be. And so if you actually sit down with a person and y'all start talking and you start dating and get to know each other, just because you have certain things in common, that doesn't mean that's supposed to be your life partner.
Mm.
And a lot of times the church is guilty of this. Like, they'll have single people, and because they have certain things in common or go to the same church, or they feel like, oh, well, you single and you single, y'all should get together. Y'all should get married. No, just because you have certain commonalities, are you a good match for better or worse through sickness and in health? Like, are y'all on the same page? Do y'all have the same vision for your futures?
And see, this is something that I want to make sure people know as soon as possible. You know, no matter where you are right now in your life, whether you're young, old, middle-aged, whatever you call yourself, you're contemplating on whether or not you should, you know, date somebody, or if you want to get married, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, but also make sure you're setting the foundation. And I'm saying this because these are things that I honestly wish I would have done years ago. I'm in my 20s, but even then, I still feel like I've wasted so much time by trying to raise somebody's son. And that's not my job. That's
what can Michelle say?
You can't raise a man. Okay, I was gonna hit the note, but my allergies messing up. I'm gonna sing it. Already grown, what you gonna do, girl?
Like, it's not your responsibility. You shouldn't have to carry that burden. You shouldn't even be introduced to that burden. Like, if a man is lacking in a certain area, you're in a relationship with him and you bring it to his attention, it is then that man's responsibility to go out and find ways to improve in that area. So if a man does not know how to be a good husband, go out and find, I know you know somebody that is married. You may not even actually know them in person, but you probably follow them on social media. Yes, social media can have certain negative things, but it all depends on how you go about it. You can go about creating your own universe on social media. So follow these positive people who are positive, good, honorable role models. Just like if you want to start a business, you're going to ask questions about how to get to that level. So if you want to get married, have a successful marriage, have a good family, have a prosperous future, then you got to set that foundation and go out and seek knowledge and wisdom. It's not going to just fall in your lap. And too often we want things to be done for us. No, you got to go out and get it.
You have to. You said a word there. It just blows my mind. I'm still stuck on that mission statement though. Like, I need to see that. I need to see that. Oh my goodness.
Drives. Yeah, this was like, I remember writing it at one of my old jobs. Like, I remember. And using their paper, they printer, they ink. Yep.
You better stop. Them people will come back and tell you need to pay them back.
I ain't say which job.
Now, look, like I said, I'm not married. So when it comes to couples therapy, do you see that as being something that couples should go, or do you think they need to be married first?
Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of times we are looking for someone to make us whole. Ooh. You need to already be whole before you enter into a marriage, because it's not your partner's responsibility to impart wholeness on you. And then with your own issues, you could start rubbing off on them and breaking them. And that's not good. And so one of the things I would say is, if you are in a serious relationship and y'all are thinking about getting married, then yes, go to therapy together. Let's talk about, your expectations, the things that y'all are struggling with. And then also it may be beneficial to go separately from one another as well. Yeah. But I think it's time for us to change the status quo, to stop bed hopping, to stop having all these baby mamas, baby daddies, all this different type of stuff. No shade on nobody, but I'm just saying, like, if you want your life to look and be a certain way, then you got to start putting practice into action. Like, just do better, be better, work on it.
You have to. And if the person isn't on the same page as you, and you tell me this, I've learned this from you, honestly, so much. It's just a lot. You have to understand that if that person don't want to change, you cannot change that person.
You cannot. And you're going to waste so much time and so much energy, so much heartache, waiting, hoping, praying for the person to change, and they are not willing. You can present all this stuff in a loving way, lay his head in your lap and stroke his hair and all this kind of stuff and care for him. But if he is not ready to grow up, if he is not ready to be responsible, if he is not ready to carry the weight of the king's crown, then you have to let that go. If y'all are on two different paths, you want one thing and he wants another. Now you dragging him behind you, kicking and screaming. And it's like, no, go. Because you have to take care of yourself. Because if you aren't well, happy, and whole, nothing around you is going to prosper and be well, happy, and whole.
Ooh. Chad. I'm going to need a one-on-one after this. Like I'm going to need a one-on-one after this.
I'm trying to get my love.
Girl, look, where you got some openings? I need a one-on-one. Well, look, man, this right here is something that we're going to talk about again, because I always tell my son this too. I'm teaching my son now that you are a child of God, but also too, the woman that's for your wife, she needs to be embedded in God. She needs to know who he is. Right. Also, the woman needs to have her own. Yes, you are the leader, but understand too that nobody is going to use you. Don't let anybody use you. Mm-hmm. And it's like we see a lot of different men nowadays, right? You see the man who either is that I've seen a lot. Either that man is leading the house, but he's leading so much to the point where he's controlling, and manipulative. Then you have the other man who's very lazy, lackadaisical, lack of ambition, type of thing. And then you have
goal. Like, what is your
whatsoever? Then you also have that other man who's very kind, caring, considerate, thoughtful, but he's too afraid to take charge, right? Like that timid, scared type of person. I'm like, look, I don't want that at all for my son. And I damn sure, excuse my language, I definitely don't want that in the man that I'm going to marry.
Right.
But like I said last show, I wasn't clear on what my husband looked like as far as on the inside. I know I want him to look good. But as far as really painting a picture of who he was, you know me, I get a little crazy, but I am definitely trying to get my life right. But to know that the religion it has to be there. You have to have faith in God. You have to be a man of God. And you should be praying more, if not just as much as I am.
Girl.
But that right there, like I said, we'll have to talk about this again. We definitely gonna have to talk about this again.
Yeah,
so
part two. We have to do a part two.
Part two, okay. Listen, we need to. Maybe we get somebody a little. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out, but we gonna put something in the works. But y'all know what we do every single show. We gotta give you something for the free. Okay. And Stacey always has the word of the day, and I got your tip coming on the way. So Stacey.
Again, choose Joy 5 Success Planner. The word is forgive. The toxicity of bitterness and unforgiveness could be what's keeping you from making destiny steps. Confront it, acknowledge it, release it. Don't hold your future hostage by not letting go.
Awesome. And that's to choose Joy. What? 365.
Yep.
You know, I'm gonna have to give me another one. On the next show, I'm gonna make sure I have mine out too. Girl, okay. I just love it. Thank you. Okay. Now, my tip, okay, it's coming from my blog spot, mollybeauty.com. I said that wrong. Let me do it again. It's mollybeauty.blogspot.com. Sorry, y'all. I get excited. Okay. And it's from our top 10 tips on how to be happier and better in 2021. And this is tip number 8. Be a good listener. Now, you see, we were talking about paying attention to the signs. You know, you got to be able to see the type of men that are out here. But listening is just as important as breathing. So your listening is just as important as you breathing. And I remember being in a relationship with someone who was horrible with communication. I mean, just horrible. Okay. Horrible. And maybe you have experienced a similar relationship in your personal life or in your work life. Either way, the key to good communication means that you have to be a good listener. So listen up. If you are somewhere right now, or you oftentimes find yourself crying yourself to sleep at night, or you're struggling, or you still feel like you're suffering and you're doing it alone, if you're suffering in silence, listen here. We want you to join us. Stand in solidarity with us. You don't have to do this by yourself. And the more you connect yourself with people who want to see you be better, with people who are willing to look you in your eyes and say, girl, you got something in the corner of your eye. Because we need that. I don't know how many times I was somewhere and like, oh, Stacey, you know I got, hold on, wait, look, y'all. Let me be real quick. So, look, I got to get my nails done too. So if y'all see that, look, it's okay. I'm going to get my that. But anyway, look, I was having it rough when I was working, y'all. When I say my life was topsy-turvy, I didn't even realize it. And I was just going through the motions. Had my lace front on, y'all. That's why I ain't got one on now. Had my lace.
Look, you gonna share this story? Go ahead, girl.
I had my lace on, y'all. And it kept coming up. And I'm just like, I don't know what was going on. But I felt like I couldn't even leave work. I already felt stuck at my job, right? And then I felt like if I left the job, you know, I don't know. But I wasn't supposed to be there. And I've come to terms with that. but my lace is popping up, y'all. I done took the goddamn tape in the office and put it on my lace. Like I folded it up. And I thought I had taped it. I thought I taped it down and it was sticking up. Stacey said, push. Like, but by then I had met with like 3 students. I'm walking around the job. Nobody else said anything. So it's so important to get you some people who are willing to tell you, baby, your lace is showing, it's sticking up, okay? And these people.
But listen, the ingenuity though, you were like, and then the girl said, let me put some tape.
I was struggling. Y'all have no idea. It's been a long time coming.
Not the word. That I couldn't believe. At least we could laugh about it because I was like,
being an adult is ghetto, okay? And I don't want
real ghetto.
No, that right there, that ain't even got nothing to do with being ghetto. I was just a hot mess. And I'm so glad that I've come up out of that.
Girl, hey, y'all know what? But I was there for her.
She was. Yep, I got me one. So y'all need to get y'all some, okay? That's why we are. Come get some of this, okay? Follow us on our Instagram at PS Consulting Firm. That's where you can get all of this sisterhood. Yes. Stand with us. We got you. But if you want to follow us individually as well, because we got so much going on. My girl over there.
Yes,
so you can create it. It's like
_created. Stacey Created on Instagram. Stacey Created on Facebook and Twitter. My personal page is Stacey Created _girl_boss. So Stacey Created Girl Boss. Stacey without an E. STACY.
That's right. And y'all know you can catch me. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's Truly Portia, TRULY. And Portia is PORSHA. Okay. But we got you.
We got
It's what I know Stacey do.
Oh, Lord. Have mercy, Jesus. It's okay. Onward and upward.
I'm grown now. I'm grown.
Thank y'all for tuning in, and we cannot wait to see you again. Put your comments down. Let us know what you think. Let us even know what you want our next topic to be. We might just choose your suggestion.
You never know. And if you did the challenge that we shared with you last show, not really a challenge, but I made a recommendation on something that you could do to help you. Let me know where you are with it. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to go watch. Okay? Catch up. We out.
Bye.